Hello and welcome back to the Hello Fresh Cook With Me series. So this next one is Mozzarella roasted pepper and pesto panini. This was a lovely Saturday night eating, relax sort of meal. So what we did is, first of all, I got my baking sheets covered with some baking paper. This isn't what the recipe calls for, but I don't want to be faffing around trying to get the fries and the pepper off the baking sheet when it comes to putting them into the meal. So the first step of the recipe is to roast the pepper. So it wants the oven heated to 200 Celsius for a fan oven, and then it wants you to halve the pepper lengthways and discard the core and seeds. I don't know why I can't speak today, I'm so sorry. It then wants you to lay the pepper halves cut side down onto a small baking tray, drizzle with oil and season with salt and pepper. So you'll have probably noticed that I'm not being very safe with my knife. That is unfortunately just the way that I try and decore peppers. It's not very safe at all. So I'm just going to go and put these little bits into the bin because I'm sure, as everybody is aware that has cut up a pepper before, that pepper seeds just get everywhere and they're so frustrating. So here we go, we're about to drizzle a little bit of oil. I don't know what I'm checking my recipe for. Probably making sure that I don't have to put anything else other than salt, pepper and oil on. So just a tiny bit of oil, because most of it will slide off. It just helps to get some nice caramelised bits on the top of the pepper. So I'm just going to get the salt and pepper out of the cupboard, and this is our very frustrating pepper grinder that I bought. It doesn't do too bad a job, but I have now run out of pepper to grind, so I keep forgetting to pick that up at the supermarket every time I go. So in about 2 million years I'll probably stop grinding pepper. Come on, Emma, finish grinding the pepper. There we go. So the next one is the salt, which goes on so much quicker. There we go. You don't need as much salt either, so that's not too bad. So now that they have been done, the last part of step number 1 is to roast on the middle shelf until soft and slightly charred, 18 to 20 minutes, turn halfway through, which is what I will do, and you will see that in a little bit. So the next part of this recipe is to turn the potatoes into fries. So I'm cutting them relatively down the middle, but into 3. That doesn't make much sense, but if you watch what I do, it might make a little bit more sense. So the recipe asks you to chop the potatoes lengthways into 1 centimetre slices, then chop into 1 centimetre wide fries. No need to peel. I don't peel my potatoes very often anyway, but I also don't measure them with a measuring tape to make sure they're 1 centimetre. It's one of those other things where it's definitely your own judgment. I have sped this up because there is nothing more mundane than watching somebody chop potatoes into fries. So we are nearly done, thank God. For some reason it looks like I've just thrown one of the fries towards you guys, which isn't very friendly. So, drizzling with some oil as per the recipe and giving them a little bit of a shake, which didn't really do much. So after I've seasoned them, I do flip them around with a spatula. So salt and pepper again, and then mixed herbs is what the recipe calls for. I have some Chinese 5-spice in my cupboard that I love to put on chips. I think most of the time when I'm cooking chips, unless it probably wouldn't go, I think most of the time I do put the Chinese 5-spice on, which you can see me doing there. and flipping them over and about with a spatula does help to manoeuvre that about to most of the chips. So this is the mixed herbs about to go on, just like that. It says toss to coat, then spread out in a single layer, but there is nothing more frustrating than trying to toss your chips and they just won't toss. So this is where I get the spatula, and I have realised that there is nothing better than using a spatula when putting fries in the oven. Usually when I'm doing fries, if there's nothing else to go in the oven, or if the oven won't be on for very long, things like that, if I'm not filling the oven, then I use our air fryer. I absolutely love the air fryer to make fries or chips. It is just so much easier, using so much less electricity, and I just find them much nicer. And you don't have to cook them as long either. So the next step of this part, the next part of this step I should probably say, is bake your Herbie fries on the top shelf until golden, 30 to 35 minutes. So when I do them in the air fryer, it does tend to be about 20-25 minutes, sometimes 30 if they're quite thick, and then to turn them halfway through. So step number 3 is, while everything roasts, halve the ciabatta. So we've got 2 ciabatta rolls here, and I'm just popping a bread knife through the middle of those to cut them in half. Obviously taking care not to slice my hand because we don't want blood. I don't know whether I have ever mentioned it before, but I am a scrub nurse, so blood wouldn't worry me. I'd be absolutely fine, but we don't want blood. Blood stays where blood should be, inside the body. So once you have halved the ciabatta, you spread each cut side evenly with pesto. So it says the ingredients for amount. 38 grams of pesto. So here I am just getting the pesto. I've cut a corner off and just arranging my bread so that I don't forget which bit's which. I'm putting a little drizzle of pesto onto each quarter there, and then I'll spread that out with a little knife so that it's nice and even. Itchy nose, but not itching it with my finger, itching it with the back of my hand where I'm not going to be touching food. So here we are, just spreading the pesto around, making it nice and even across each slice of bread. And the next one. I don't usually use pesto in many recipes, so it's nice to use it. I have got some in the fridge. I don't know whether it'd be any good. I should probably try and use it so that it doesn't go out of date. But anyway, just get the last little bit of pesto out of the packet. Surely there can't be much left because I'll squeeze it within an inch of its life. There we go, popping it in my little rubbish pile, and then going over with the knife for those last little bits of pesto that has squeezed out. If you can hear anything, my dog has just come into the room. She wants to come and say hello. I'm just going to give her a little rub. She's a happy little girlie. So the next part of the recipe says drain the mozzarella and pat it dry with kitchen paper, making sure you squeeze out as much liquid as possible, and then to tear it into pieces. But before I do that, I realised that the peppers had been in for about 10 minutes. So I take them out, and I believe at some point, I was getting my pincers. I